So it makes very clear, you see, now what's Sharavaka, what's Pratik Buddha. No. In just few sentences, gives such a clear picture. That's why I cherish this book so much. Now come to the fifth, the Mahayana family, the great vehicle. What kind of family is the Mahayana? The summary, classification, definition, synonyms, reason it is superior to other families, causal characteristics, and marks. These 6 topics comprise the Mahayana family, means we'll explain step by step. First, classification. This Mahayana has 2 classifications. The naturally abiding family, that means Buddha nature. The Buddha nature itself is Mahayana family, lineage. And perfect workable family means then you, on the basis of the Buddha nature, then you practice the teaching, study, receive teachings, practice, and great compassion, so forth. And practicing bodhicitta, so forth. Those are the, then it becomes workable. No? Workable family lineage. Now the second definition. Now what are those 2? Now the natural abiding family and perfectly workable family. What is definition of those? The second is the explanation of the respective essence of these 2 individuals. The first, the naturally abiding family has from beginningless times had the potential to develop all the Buddha's qualities through suchness, means as it is. As yesterday I mentioned, the redwood giant tree, to grow that seed, the small seed has every potential to grow that big tree. So we, no matter how inferior we are, still we have that potential to become Buddha. By nature, not by any exercise. No. Like a small fire has every potential to burn whole forest. It makes sense? See, look at this. So that's why naturally we have all the Buddha's excellent qualities. But it's just obscured by the adventitious defilements. We just need to get rid of it. So that's the naturally abiding lineage, family. Now the second, the perfectly workable family has the potential to achieve all the Buddha's qualities through the power of habituating themselves in root virtue. It's all the virtue we see. Look at, see, first nature of the samsara. Suffering of not just only oneself, all sentient beings. So concern, get developed, concern of all the sentient beings. Then see, on the basis of that, what are the cause of suffering? What's the cause of the peace and happiness? Look at the 10 virtues, 10 non-virtues. Avoid all the 10 non-virtues. Develop all the 10 virtues. And on the basis of that, develop love and compassion. These are root virtue for enlightenment. and then cultivating bodhicitta, practicing the aspiration bodhicitta, action bodhicitta, step by step. This is all called root virtue. See. Thus, see, both have chance to achieve enlightenment. Naturally abide, a workable. No, in both cases, one has the ability to become Buddha. So this showing, see, naturally every sentient beings belong to Mahayana family. So how wonderful, you see. That's why we should inspire ourselves. So I have the naturally Mahayana family. No. Okay, so that's the definition. It's clear, isn't it? Maybe you have to work harder. Now the third synonym of this Buddha, say the Buddha nature, saying the synonym of family or lineage are called potential. It's called potential. They are called seed. So we have potential to achieve Buddhahood. We have a seed to become Buddha. Sphere elements is naturally we are dominated by the Buddha nature. No? And natural mode of abiding is not Buddhist belief. This was no. Natural mode of abiding has a very profound meaning. It's not just a belief. What do you believe, what do you not believe? It's naturally abide. It's naturally exist. Whether we know or don't know, whether we accept or not accept. So see this and inspire. Go for step by step. No? Now spirituality means Mahayana is more spirituality than the other two families or lineage. The hearer and the solitary realizers, family or lineages are inferior by virtue of the fact that they fully purify their families, lineage, by dispelling only the obscurations of afflictive emotions for liberation. They purify the afflictive emotion, the obscurations, which prevents them to achieve liberation. So that much is enough for them to achieve their goal. As you mentioned, like college. When you want to finish the college, whatever you need to study, the college, and when you got the degree college, you are done. So there's no need to go further. Again, here, it doesn't mean everything is purified, all the obscurations. The Mahayana is superior because it fully purifies its family by dispelling two obscurations. See, the first, afflicting emotion, this which the Sharavakas and Patibuddha, they are purified. Only above that, the subtle obscuration to omniscient, to enlightenment. They have to purify both. Therefore, the Mahayana family is superior and unsurpassed. Now, sometimes you see we who are, say I belong to Mahayana family. My school is superior than the Hinayana. Without having proper qualities. I think sometimes we make mistake that. No. What is, look at here carefully, what kind of work we have to do. Purify all the obscurations, step by step. Then naturally you become superior. Not just by talking, by words, you see. So we have to purify our obscurations, delusions. Now it makes sense here? Okay. Now causal characteristics. These are a little profound. Now you need more study, understand, and practice. It's not just like a mathematic. The causal characteristic of the family or lineage are described as awakened and unawakened. There are two. The awakened family or lineage has achieved the fruit, the result, not totally, but some about, perfectly. And the signs are very obvious, which describes down here. The unawakened family has not achieved the fruit perfectly, and its mark is not obvious. So what would cause this family or lineage to awaken? This family can awaken through freedom from unfavorable contributory cause and through the support of favorable conditions. See? So I have to free from the unfavorable conditions and should have the favorable conditions to awake the lineage or Mahayana lineage. If the opposites occur, then they cannot awaken. So if there's no favorable conditions, they cannot awaken. Now what are they here saying? What are four? There are four unfavorable conditions. Being born in unfavorable circumstances means a wrong place, like a borderland where there's no Dharma teachings. Having no habitual tendencies towards enlightenment. No habit, say, to practice enlightenment, to achieve Buddhahood. When there's no habit, it's very difficult to because it's very difficult to twist the arm, Entering into wrong conditions, and in the wrong place. Said in place there's conditions, say, there's no such causes and conditions. There's no such virtue and non-virtue. And when you are grown up with that, then it's so strongly imprinted in your mind. Those kind is called entering into the wrong conditions. And being heavily shrouded by the obscurations. Then when the negative karma is so strong, the mind is not alert, not clear. When you study, practice Dharma, difficult to understand. So these are four, unfavorable conditions. When one encounters, then it becomes an obstacle to practice the Mahayana family. So look at it in our own mind. So when you hear Dharma, you appreciate, rejoice. So here again you see, it's not just a belief, but a saying precisely, step by step, to acknowledge, to understand ourselves. Now there are two favorable conditions. The outer condition of a teacher is a good teacher who can explain. This is samsara, this is nirvana. You get a good kind of, you got a good condition from outside. Not some one topic, one subject, but you get a complete. Then the inner condition of a mind with a proper desire for the precious Dharma and so forth. And you have a sincere mind to study, practice Dharma. It's my interest. It's the interest of the sentient beings. That's why we keep our life busy. Why we keep busy our life? Doing so many things. Because for peace and happiness. To free from suffering. Now here comes this direct and substantial path for that. So I must make effort. So these two conditions makes the good condition to study, practice Dharma, to achieve enlightenment. So now that above they're saying the marks are obvious and unobvious here. Now here saying this. The marks of this family means the Mahayana, the great vehicle, are the signs which indicates the Bodhisattva family. That the 10 Noble Bhumis Sutra says, the family of wise Bodhisattvas can be recognized by its signs. There's a possibility. Not always, but there's a lot of possibilities. You can see by the signs. Just as fire is known by its smokes. Behind this hill, if you see the smoke, then you know there's a fire, isn't it? You say, I see the smoke there, so there must be a fire. And I give you another one. And water is known by water birds. That means the birds which eat lots of fish, they have to stay with the lake, water. So when the bird is flying somewhere there, so there's a lake, there's water running, So like that sign, you can see the Bodhisattva or not. See, in that case, what kind of marks are there? Their bodies and speech are naturally gentle, without dependence on a remedy. Physical movement, the verbal speech. Of course, we cannot read their mind unless you are enlightened or achieve great samadhi. For regular, we can see their physical and verbal speech. So their minds are less deceitful. Through this, their minds are less deceitful, not deceiving people, because they have a compassion. One who has a compassion cannot deceive other people. When you have a very sincere compassion to others, because they want to help others, not take advantage of others. Does it make sense? See, this is very important. That's why Buddha There's no reason to tell lie, because Buddha is fully embodied wisdom and compassion. All his entire being dedicated to the sentient beings, to free from samsara, to achieve enlightenment. So likewise, bodhisattvas, they are on the way. They don't take advantage of other people, sentient beings, for their own interest. See, this is what a marvelous bodhicitta is, you see. In the society, we need those. Their minds are less deceitful and have loving kindness and a clarity toward sentient beings. See, thus the 10 noble bodhisattva and the 10 noble Bhumi Sutra says, no harshness or arrogance, means for self-interest. But to give other teachings, maybe some have to do. Like look at the Marba did to Milarepa. So at the end of the day, then Marba said, this all is done for the Dharma, for the sake of other sentient beings' benefit. No one has made mistake. No. So no harshness, arrogance, avoiding all deceit and cunning, having a clear, loving attitude means clear mind to others, very clear to others, and loving attitude towards all sentient beings. And this is a bodhisattva. So when you take bodhisattva's vow, pay attention to these qualities. In other words, in whatever preparatory, when you do anything, before that, so preparatory action, a bodhisattva undertakes. See, he always cultivates compassion. Whatever he does, first cultivate compassion. Then I will do this, that. Cultivate compassion for all sentient beings. Has a great inclination towards the Mahayana teachings. Naturally, you like Mahayana teachings. As soon as you hear to benefit all sentient beings, your mind is so coordinating with that. So that's right to do, good thing to do. No. And has no hesitation to endure hardship. For that, there's no hesitation, there's no doubt, there's no fear. You hesitate because there's a fear. No. So still, look at this. We fear because of self-cherishing. We have fear to lose our self-identity. No. So if we know there's no self exists by itself, there's no reason to fear. No. Joyfully, follow the path. Say, I found the path now. What a fortunate I am. See, so then hardships are nothing. You enjoy the hardship. When there's hardship to purify obscurations, you just go through it joyfully. Now usually I give examples now the people who are in the mountain, the snow skier who ski the snow mountain. or jump from the rocky cliff mountain, diving. They enjoy that. Because they enjoy, they have no fear, Even though it's so risky, If something's wrong, goes wrong, their life will be finished. But they enjoy that hardship. So now here, without risk, you can enjoy the hardship. All good but nothing, all good but good, That's to say, endure hardship and perfectly performs the root virtue of the profession, like practicing 6 paramitas. Enjoying those practices. Thus the ornament of Mahayana Sutra says now that you are studying now here today and these days. So developing compassion at the preparation stage, before you do anything, you develop compassion, devoted interest in the practice of bodhicitta, and patience when you face difficulties, patience of forbearance, perfectly performing the virtues. These are the signs of the Mahayana family. We finish this, then we'll have a short break. Now his conclusion. They are concluding this. Thus, of these 5 families, those who are in Mahayana family or lineage are very close to cause of enlightenment. Those who are practicing Mahayana bodhicitta, enlightenment is very close. The hearer, Sharavaka, solitary realizer, Pratik Buddha, families, lineage will eventually lead to Buddhahood. But the cause is farther away, means farther than Mahayana. And it will take a long time. In the indefinite family lineage, some are close, means those who are connected to Mahayana, they are close to enlightenment. And some will take a long time. If they are connected to Sharavaka, Patibuddha, will take a long time. The disconnected family is known by Buddha to wander in the samsara for a long time. That's called disconnected for the time being. But this does not mean that they absolutely will not attain Buddhahood. They can attain Buddhahood, but it will take a very long time. Therefore, since all sentient beings belong to one of these families, now look at which family belong to me? Just look to yourself. If you belong to Mahayana, you rejoice, feel happy, practice joyfully. To one of these family, all sentient beings are of the Buddha nature. So because of that, all sentient beings has Buddha nature. Thus, by the above 3 reasons, so 3 reasons, yesterday we went, every sentient being is pervaded by the Dharmakaya, the suchness of the Buddha and sentient beings are the same, and every sentient being has a family. So these 3 reasons. Thus, by the above 3 reasons, it has been demonstrated that all sentient beings have the Buddha nature. Furthermore, consider these examples. The precious metal, silver abiding in its ore, oil abiding in a mustard seed, and the butter abiding in milk. From silver ore, we can produce silver. From mustard seed, we can produce oil. And from milk, we can produce butter. Likewise, sentient beings can become Buddha. See, few words, but essence. Just the point. This is called Pete instruction. Look at this. How precious. So these are the real. So this gives us, anyway, this gives us a complete kind of optimistic. This points out why we have to practice Dharma. So acknowledge this to ourselves. Then follow the path. I have Buddha nature. Why not I can achieve enlightenment? It's not just belief. It's where, how things should be. Okay, thank you. Make a short break, maybe 10-15 minutes. Oh? What do you think? Yes, it's okay. It's okay. His seat is empty. 어제 얘네 계시 당원인데 이제 가서 챙겨다 이제 고 계속 내가 나 요데 인지 자게 봐나 요데 가 인지 자게 봐 얘도 거기에도 얘 고말 인지 두고래 Anorado me bawa sarva sede me pray sarva krama suza me zedan shreya kuru ha bhagavan sarva dada gada bhadrama me monza baranze bhav ma samaya sadva Om Bhadra Sadva Samaya Manu Palaya Bhadra Sadva Denopa Deja Dejo Membawa Zodo Kayo Membawa Subo Kayo Membawa Anorado Membawa Sarva Sede Mebraya Sarva Karama Sutta Me Zedan Shreya Kuru Ha Bhagavan Sarva Tata Gata Bhadrama Me Monza Baranze Bhav Mahasamaya Sattva Om Bhadra Sattva Samaya Mano Palaya Bhadra Sattva Denoba Denta Dejo Membawa Soto Kayo Membawa Subo Kayo Membawa Anorado Membawa Sarva Sede Mebrayat Sarva Karama Sutta Me Zedan Shreya Kuru Ha Bhagavan Sarva Tata Gata Bhadrama Me Mon Baranze Bhava Mahasamaya Sadhu. Thank you. We'll continue. So I haven't read this last. This is the first chapter dealing with the primary cause from the dual ornament of liberation, the wish fulfilling gem of the noble teachings. Now next, part 2, the working basis. As a working basis, the precious human life is excellent. So that's chapter. Because during these 2 months, there's 8 weeks total. And in the 8 weeks, we have 3 days each in the week, so which makes the 24 days to go through this text. No, so at least we try to go one chapter a day. Now chapter 2, precious human life. So this also see, it is all the important points without much elaborated way. All sentient beings have Buddha nature, as described before in the first chapter. That being the case, because of that, do all beings, sentient beings, in the 5 realms. These 5 realms, sometimes we say 6 realms. Here it says 5 realms. That means the hungry spirit is divided into 2. The lower one belongs to the animal realm. The higher one belongs to the God realm. So that's why it becomes 5. So such as hell beings, sentient beings in the hell realm. Hungry ghosts is mentioned here. We used to have that hungry ghost all the time, but maybe it's good to say hungry spirit. Maybe it's better at the word if you say hungry spirit instead of hungry ghost. It's kind of there's a spirit also who are hungry, and so forth. So then, like a animal and a human being, the God realms, everyone's, since everyone has the Buddha nature, so can they achieve Buddhahood, and so hungry spirit and so forth have the capacity to work towards enlightenment. That's the question. So the answer says no. Not everyone has the opportunity to become Buddha or to achieve Buddhahood. Only a precious human life, not necessarily also all human beings, those which is called precious human life, which has 2 qualities of leisure and endowments. There's 2 qualities. One is leisure, and the second one is endowment. Then with that, and a mind which holds or which has the 3 faiths, 3 confidences, 3 faiths, that has a good basis to work towards enlightenment. So these 5 qualities, anybody who has that, then has a good opportunity to achieve enlightenment. The summary, leisure and endowment. 2, in the faith, is that the trust, longing, and clarity. There's 3. 2 of the body and 3 of the mind. These 5 comprise the excellent working basis that makes the excellent condition to study, practice Dharma, to achieve complete enlightenment. Now first there's leisure. So leisure means beings free from the 8 unfavorable conditions. When one is free from the 8 unfavorable conditions, so that individual has the leisure, a time, study, practice Dharma. These 8 unfavorable conditions are mentioned in the Sutra of the Sublime Dharma of Clear Recollection. So the beings, the hell realm, hungry ghost, animal, a hell, hungry ghost, animal, barbarian, or sometimes called borderland, and long life God, and then those individuals who are holding wrong views, and the absence of a Buddha, and then mood. These are the 8 unfavorable conditions. So first, recognize what are the 8 unfavorable conditions. So in what way are these conditions unfavorable? Why they are in an unfavorable condition? In hell realms, beings have the nature of constant suffering. Suffering is so much, so there's no space in the mind to meditate, to contemplate the Dharma teachings. Like when you are depressed strongly in your mind, if you try to meditate, you cannot, because the depression takes away your meditation. Try to visualize, it's just intellectual, because depression is so real and your practice is so artificial. So look at this. So Dharma practitioners should have a very clear mind. Constant suffering. Hungry spirits, gods, are tortured by mental burning, means like this stinginess, burning, lack of food, lack of drink, and the mind is burning by the fire of this so there's no place to meditate, practice. Then animals are mostly overpowered by stupidity. This is very wonderful, most are saying, not every, There's some very smart, maybe sometimes smarter than human beings, but most are the overpowered by the stupid. Like your cat, your dog, you tell, so this is virtue, practice. This is non-virtue, don't practice. They have no idea what you're talking about. Tell them you are in the samsara. Maybe you want to make effort to achieve enlightenment, and they will look at you, get some food. So that's called stupid. So now, all 3 of these have no modesty, see, awareness of right or wrong, and no concern for what others think. So they have no concern what others will think about them. For them, for oneself, or if I do this, it will not good for me. They have not that kind of concern. If I do this, maybe what other will think about. So none of those exist. Their mind stream are because that their mind streams are improper vessels, so they cannot receive Dharma teachings. Therefore, they have no opportunity to practice the Dharma. Again, you see, mostly, so not everyone. Now, this is more mythical, The long life gods abide in a non-conceptual state, means they have achieved such a deep meditative absorption. So because of that, their mind is so absorbed in that quietness. They cannot hear from outside. Completely blocked their mind by that state of the meditative state. So say state where all mental activities have ceased. Activities are ceased, you see. Means all mental thoughts, understand of right or wrong, all this just cease into the meditative state. Therefore, they have no opportunity to practice the Dharma. Because they are longer life than human beings. That's why it's called long life, God realm. And all the God realms constitute unfavorable conditions. We can say all the God realms, you can say unfavorable conditions. Reason because all the gods have favorable. All the gods have unfavorable conditions because they are attached to temporary happiness. They're attached to this life's achievement, peace, happiness, fame, so forth. And have no time to make effort for Dharma because they're being so busy for this life's achievement. No time to sit down, read Dharma, study and practice. So look at this, you know. Therefore, the small amount of suffering. So here there's a small suffering that a human experiences has great qualities. That in the human life we have some suffering, not too much like in the hell realm or hungry spirits. We have some suffering, so that suffering has a great opportunity. So it has a great qualities. Because from it we get a sense of sadness in samsara. You see, from that suffering, there's a lot of suffering in the world. Feeling of little sad, little renunciation. So that's and it falsifies our arrogance. See, we become arrogant when you achieve something. No, I'm successful, this. I'm much better off than the rest of such people. There's some arrogance. But when you reflect his suffering into you, I'm not that great. I also suffer, you know. I'm like the rest. I'm no better than the rest of the world, you know. So it releases our arrogance, the pride, the height, you know. So it makes a real human being. So everything there's a significance, you see. It causes us to cultivate compassion. Because of suffering, gives you good opportunity to cultivate compassion. If there's no inner suffering, then there's no cause to cultivate compassion. Because compassion, the mind, is to give rise in your being that desire to free from the suffering. When there's a suffering, there's no basis to cultivate compassion. See, so when suffering comes into your life, instead of you feeling sad, depressed, so this gives me a lesson. No, this gives me a lesson. Samsara has no essence. This gives me a lesson, no, to reduce my arrogance. This gives me a lesson to cultivate compassion. towards all sentient beings, no? Compassion towards all sentient beings. It causes us to like virtuous deeds and abstain from negative actions. So why suffering is coming from? Suffering is coming from negative thoughts, action. So if I want to free from suffering, I better abstain acting from the non-virtuous thoughts and action. No, like say, I have to avoid 10 non-virtues. If I want peace and happiness, I better practice the 10 virtues. See? So look at this, is such a beautiful, engaging in the conduct of Bodhisattvas, Bodhisattvas says this, Bodhisattva Avatara by Shantideva. Furthermore, suffering has good qualities. Through being disheartened, being sad, disheartened with it, arrogance is dispelled. Compassion arises from those in struggling existence. Evil is shunned, negative karma is reduced, and joy is found in virtue. Then when you practice the 10 virtues, you feel joy. So I'm doing right thing. This is the explanation of how the 4 non-human realms have no leisures. Now the 3 lower realms and then the God realm, how they don't have the leisure. No. Even though they have human, even though they are human beings, but then barbarians have difficulty meeting spiritual beings. Those who are born in the borderland, they have difficulty to meet spiritual masters. No.